Welcome to Snyder's Inc., where the fun never ends. Reactions, gaming, and more with Josh as your friend. Tune in, buckle up, it's a ride you don't wanna miss. Snyder's Inc., let's dive in, feel the ultimate bliss.
Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. and today we got another wrestling reaction. This is Top 10 Greatest Survivor Series Performances of All Time, and we gonna get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment thing down below. Let's go.
After last week's debacle that made me question my love for pro wrestling in general, I think it is time that we take a look at some of the reasons that Survivor Series actually has lasted as long as it has. When done properly, which is asking a lot for Survivor Series to be fair, but when done properly, a strong Survivor Series performance can be a launching point for a wrestler. It is a true breakout performance in a very literal sense, and while it is certainly no guarantee that the momentum generated from such a performance will last until the Royal Rumble, or even the end of the year in some cases, that doesn't make the performance on that cozy November night any less special. Enjoy your turkey, Americans! I am Tempest, hailing from parts fun known, and these are the 10 greatest Survivor Series performances of all time. But before we get on...
By the way, I think I'm going to do a live reaction to Survivor Series this year. I'm not fully sure. I'm fully decided. But I think I'm going to. So, be prepared for that.
With this list, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a fun list just like it. And make sure you check out the latest special edition of Survival Series featuring the Bullet Club, naming every member of the Bullet Club. Number 10, the Jumping Bomb Angels, 1987. Remember the original...
Yeah, that's too old for me to remember. I ain't watched any... I don't watch much of the 1980s. Most of their wrestling in the 1980s makes my brain lose its mind on the state of it, so I can't watch any of it.
WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. WWE sure doesn't, but I do, and I will never forget them because of the work of the Jumping Bomb Angels. You would absolutely not think that a pair of Japanese women's wrestlers would fare well in the 1980s WWF, and long term I guess they didn't, but watching them at the first ever Survivor Series will make you believe that they should have. Itsuki Yamazaki and Norio Tateno were fantastic wrestlers, and the survivors of the first ever Women's Survivor Series match, last eliminating the Glamour Girls, Judy Martin and Leilani Kai, and let me tell you, that alone is better booking for the women's tag titles than we've gotten in the last 5 years. The next Women's Survivor Series match wouldn't be for another 8 years, which is preposterous considering whenever I think of the first ever Survivor Series event, I think of the Jumping Bomb Angels. I realize I'm probably not in the majority here, but damn it, I like what I like. Number 9, Randy Orton, 2004.
In fairness, Orton could be 2004. Actually, no. I was going to say he could be 2005 too. Shawn Michaels is 2005. There's a lot of good ones you could do, actually. Because Randy could be 2003, 2004, 2005. Shawn Michaels could be 2003, 2004, 2005. No. Damn, you can do some shit there. Well, actually, Michaels isn't on 2004. I just realized that. So Michaels could be 03 and 05. Randy could be 03, 04, and 05.
4. The Ruthless Aggression era was the era of Randy Orton being Mr. Survivor Series. In 3 straight years, from 2003 to 2005, Orton was the sole survivor of his team, but his best performance came smack down in the middle in the year of our Lord 2004. Still seeking revenge for his recent Evolution betrayal, Randy Orton led his crew of Jericho and Benoit into battle with Maven taken out backstage before the match for an immediate disadvantage. Orton's team was fighting from behind the entire way, and despite this, Orton was able to eliminate Edge and Triple H to win the match and the most important prize in Survivor Series history, control of Raw for 1 week. Ooh. Orton's other Survivor Series performances saw him being the mean old baddie putting a stop to the valiant come-from-behind effort of the opposing babyface, but here, he was the valiant come-from-behind babyface, getting a clean win over Triple H, which, if you followed the career of Randy Orton, proved very hard to come by. Number 8, Asuka, 2017. When
Asuka, from when she debuted up until debuted in NXT, all the way up until WrestleMania 34, was booked fucking stupendously. Even WWE Even Vince booked her right until she lost to Charlotte. It was that where he went wrong. Because after that, he just realized, because I've always stood by this, in a wrestler's career, the worst thing you could have your career be is that you're undefeated. Because most wrestler careers, if your whole gimmick is you're undefeated, once you lose, you're fucked. Oscar, Goldberg, who else is a good example of that? There's probably others. But you'll find many times where someone's thing is that they're undefeated. Watch them after they lose. If your whole thing is you're undefeated, watch what happens when they lose. I guarantee you most of the time, it'll be that they're not probably booked the best afterwards. Because they're always immediately gone.
Asuka debuted a month prior to Survivor Series 2017 at TLC. She sold way too much. Why have her first impression to the main roster be her selling for 80% of a match with Emma? I don't know, but thankfully WWE's second chance to make a first impression came at the biggest party of the autumn. 2017 wasn't a great year for Survivor Series in terms of quality of the matches sharing its namesake, but what they did manage to accomplish was showing what a force Asuka could be as she eliminated 3 out of the 5 of the SmackDown women to give Raw the win as the sole survivor. Considering the top star of the SmackDown team was Becky Lynch and she got eliminated first in, checks notes, 2 minutes, this one was a foregone conclusion very early, but that also speaks to the scope of Asuka's aura at the time, so fair play to her. Number 7, Roman Reigns, 20.
It will always be on here. In every Survivor Series video, this match will be on here. And this performance will be talked about. Roman Reigns decided to fuck up 4 men with spears. And did it beautifully. Roman Reigns on this night was an unstoppable force.
13. I love talking about this match because I loved Roman Reigns until WWE replaced his code with John Cena's and hit enter. This was the start of the you gotta make Roman look really strong era. And I don't know if there has ever been a night where Roman looks stronger than this pre-character change. Maybe the 2014 Rumble, but that's it. The Shield immediately goes down a man as Ambrose goes out early, and from there it is a bad time for the bad guys until Roman turns his swagger up to 11. He beckons to Rey Mysterio that he came all the way back just to get jobbed out, and then beats 4 out of the 5 good guys to walk away the sole survivor. There were loads of incredibly forced Roman Reigns performances over the years where fans were absolutely not receptive to it, but had any of them been even a sliver as badass as this one at Survivor Series 2013, then I think Roman would have had a much better chance of turning out to be what WWE wanted him to be from the jump. Number 6, Seth Rollins, 2014.
Okay. Out of 2014, that's not what I would have went with, but okay. I'll let you speak, Tempest. It's not who I would have went with, but I'll hear you out.
Speaking of the Shield, after Seth Rollins stuck the chair-shaped knife in Roman Reigns' back, his major assignment for Survivor Series was to keep the Authority in power. The main event of Survivor Series 2014 is a sensational match, and it would not be half of what it was without the efforts of Seth Rollins and another man who you might hear about later. This is one of the only...
Okay, because I was thinking, I was like, the other guy has to be on there in the final 2. Dolph has to be on this list. Okay, glad he's on the list. I know he's there.
Entries on this list that isn't based off a dominant performance with loads of eliminations, but rather the quality of work that was on display. I mean, really, Seth only has 1 elimination in this match, and it's pinning John Cena after Big Show turned on him. But the final stretch with Seth Rollins fighting to keep the Authority from certain damnation is one of the best mini matches to end a Survivor Series match there has ever been. And while Seth may have failed to stop Sting from banishing his bosses, it turns out it was merely a month-long sabbatical anyway, while his performance has stood the test of time. Number 5, Aja Kong, 1995. This
is another one I haven't watched, so I can't say nothing to it. Although Aja Kong, I really do like.
Might be the most dominant performance from a single star in Survivor Series history. It's either this or Big Show eliminating Big Boss Man and his band of merry boss men in 1999, but I will always be partial to Joshi wrestling legend Aja Kong up the WWF's women's division so hard that the company decided to abort the whole division for a few years. Aja Kong was too much wrestling for those at the top, and time has told us what those people were actually looking for in their women's wrestling, but at Survivor Series 1995, Aja Kong was simply the most dominant, devastating, and badass wrestler in the business, eliminating all 4 of her team's opponents to win the match as the sole survivor. There were some all-time great workers in this match, such as Lioness Asuka, which is not an alternate outfit in WWE 2K23, don't worry, I did check, but Aja Kong was simply too much for any of the other women in this match to handle. Imagine what her WWE run could have been. Number 4, Keith Lee.
Aja Kong is just a brute damn force, okay? She's a brute damn force that could have been maybe the most dominant women in history, but instead they saw a woman could be dominant. They said, oh, gotta go up division. People can't know that. We gotta get rid of this old division. This performance is fucking incredible. It's insane looking at this, wondering how the fuck Vince fucked him up so much.
Lee 2019. Speaking of what ifs, bask in the glory that is Keith Lee's performance at Survivor Series 2019.
I'm gonna say this again. People always. No one said anything last time, but I feel like people will probably still argue with me. Keith Lee is booked better in WWE than he is in AEW. Even with the weirdness of Vince McMahon, he was booked better in WWE than he was in AEW.
19. Keith Lee didn't win this match. In fact, he only got 1 elimination. But when this match was over, all anyone could talk about was this mountain of twisted steel and snuggle appeal. The final stretch of this match with Keith Lee and Roman Reigns is electric, the kind of lightning in a bottle feeling that WWE so wishes they could manufacture on demand, with that kick out of the Spirit Bomb in particular feeling like the biggest near fall of WWE's whole year. The streets were not high on WWE at this point after Hell in a Cell and Crown Jewel and the Kofi thing and, well, most of 2019, but this match and Keith Lee's performance in this match made everyone forget about all of that, if only for a half hour. In a perfect world, this was a star-making performance for Keith Lee that would have launched him towards WrestleMania matches with Brock Lesnar, Walter, Roman Reigns, and all other opponents that would have been worthy of basking in his glory.
Listen, Keith, you're not watching this, but I'm gonna say this anyway. If your contract runs out with AEW, leave. I'm dead serious. You will be Triple H will book you way better than Tony Khan ever could.
Fortunately, this isn't a perfect world, in case the plagues and wars hadn't been enough of a hint for you. Number 3, The Undertaker, 1990. Now an entry for a completely different reason. To this point, all of the entries in this list have either been dominant or exceptional, but in 1990, we saw a Survivor Series performance that set a new standard in establishing a brand new character. Had the first performance of The Undertaker been a flop, much of the course of WWE history over the last 35 years would have been vastly different. Thankfully for us, him, and WWE, there was only one man that could have pulled off being The Undertaker as well as The Undertaker. His performance at Survivor Series was dominant as well, eliminating Koko Beware and Dusty Rhodes, but it isn't the eliminations that people remember from this match. It's his presence. It's the commitment to the character. This may be wrestling, but you tell me that isn't the face of an undead wizard zombie. There have been a number of great wrestlers that have debuted at Survivor Series, and some that have debuted in a Survivor Series match as well, but none have ever done so with greater success than Johnny Longcoat over here. Could have been the Eggman. Cuckoo Cachoo indeed. Number 2, Dolph Ziggler, 2014. This would be number 1 on...
Literally, in my opinion, this should be. I don't know what he names as number 1. I don't know any performance that tops this. You better have a good one, Tempest, because I think this is incredible.
Loads of people's lists, but there is one that I love even more than this all-time great performance from Dolph Ziggler. Only a year and a bit removed from his career-defining Money in the Bank cash-in, this match and Ziggler's performance in this match proved that WWE could still have made something of him at this point had they tried. But while WWE may not be stubborn, they are extremely stubborn. There is still 17 minutes remaining on this match's runtime when Big Show bonks John Cena on the head and walks out on his team, and it is at that moment that Zigglypuff finds a Moonstone to become Zigglytuff and fight off Kane, Luke Harper, and Seth Rollins 3-on-1 to ultimately win this match with the help of Sting. Maybe if he hadn't been made to sell the world's most devastating pedigree for 5 whole, actual, honest-to-God minutes, he would have been number 1. But for me, the best Survivor Series performance of all time goes to number 1, Shawn Michaels.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's those two. They're neck and neck. You could put either in front of the other. That is absolutely fair. I completely understand that.
2003. I mean, Dolph Ziggler was basically doing a Shawn Michaels tribute performance anyway, because no one has ever had a better underdog performance in Survivor Series history than the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn fighting on behalf of his former rival, tag partner, and Mania main event dance partner Steve Austin 3-on-1 against Chris Jericho, Christian, and Randy Orton is one of the all-time greatest babyface performances of his career, and think of the ground that covers. Shawn gets busted wide open and literally only has the minimum amount of strength left necessary to stand, yet is able to eliminate Jericho and Christian before falling to Orton, who needed a run-in from Batista to even be able to get the job done, tugging at your heartstrings all the way through. There may have been better Survivor Series matches in the show's 36-year history, but I challenge you to find a single performance from any Survivor Series match better than this one. It is wrestling in all caps, and by definition, that includes a big, fat W. And that's our list. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think the best Survivor Series performance is of all time? Hit the like button, subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.